Once upon a time, long, long ago, the world was experiencing great ruin. Enormous animals were bestowed upon the earth to create terrible pain and hardship for the people. The people were desperate, so they called upon the old witch's world for help. Thence came Francesca, a gracious witch with great powers. She fought and saved the world from these terrible creatures. The land began to flourish again, and the people worked peacefully together to rebuild their wonderful cities. All was well. Now we too are experiencing serious turmoil. Terrible, horrid beings called Krions have descended upon our planet. We are all prisoners. We are losing hope. Francesca, we need you. If you are out there, please come. Krion Conquest from Vic Tokai in 1991. A very Mega Man-ish game with some very, very Wizard of Oz meets Logan's Run box art, I guess. Also known as a Magical Kids Dorobai in Japan, or simply Magical Dorobai. Side-scrolling action adventure, was later ported to Japanese mobile phones by Genki Mobile. We control the wand-wielding character, Francesca, whatever, who can fire different objects based on the wand type the player selected. The gameplay resembles Capcom's Mega Man series, while the cutscenes resemble cutscenes from Ninja Gaiden. Among other things, her outfit color changes when a different wand is selected, using a Mega Man 2 style menu. The powers included are the normal shot, the Phoenix ability, the freeze shot, the bouncing ball shot, the shield ability, and the broom ability. Unlike the first three Mega Man titles back then, the Krion Conquest allows the player to shoot directly upward, crouch to dodge, and shoot charged magic. The ability for the charge shot was later used in Mega Man 4, though this did not influence that, as this, came out later. And most later Mega Man titles that featured the charging Mega Buster. Some of the weapon abilities are very reminiscent of those seen in other games as well. The bouncing ball shot is very, very similar to the 45 ball from Xerxes. The following plot summary is translated from the mobile version's website. The year is 1999. The player is put in the middle of a war already lost when the Akudama Empire, known as the Krion Empire outside of Japan, attacks the Earth with its army of robots. No conventional weapon in existence is efficient against the opponent. The robots are, however, totally vulnerable to magic. A hired mercenary, Kagimaru, summons the only non-sealed witch, known as Doropai, to stop the Akudama Empire's offenses. The Imperial army, led by an old nemesis of Doropai, Empress Alicia, does not surrender, though. Alicia captures Kagimaru and blackmails Doropai into breaking her seal and setting her free. It seems that the mercenary lost his life, and Doropai sets out to stop the now-free Empress. After the battle, the dying Empress Alicia confesses the reason behind the invasion and apologizes. The Imperial warship explodes shortly thereafter, but not before Doropai escapes. She is contacted by Kagimaru, who apparently survived the wounds that Alicia inflicted on him, and Doropai comes back to Earth shortly afterwards. According to the designers, the development of the game took approximately 10 months to finish. The title was originally planned as a licensed game based on the 1986 anime The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, because the main designer wanted to. However, in Japan, the anime's copyrights were held by TV Tokyo. Therefore, the designers were unable to use it and decided to think up their own basic design until Doropai came about. Doropai's name is based basically on Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. The rest of the design has nothing to do with Dorothy nor the Wizard of Oz in particular, but the character designer gave high priority to the point that quite a few people noticed her in design, which Doropai lacks eyelashes. Yes. Drawing eyelashes is an expression method of a female character, according to this, but the character designer tried to make it cute without symbolic parts, and thus she was created that way. According to the main designer, her witch costume with a magical broom was the oldest heroine's design used in arcade and home video games back then. During its release, there was a tendency among designers and developers to think that the NES is for boys, so there were many objections to set the girl as the protagonist of the game. A sequel was planned, but during the switch from the NES to the SNES, the developer's kit was too expensive for the designers to use, so they had no margin to create its sequel. And the main designer was kind of bummed. The North American version excluded some features from the Japanese version. Due to the perceived popularity of difficult games in North America, Vic Tokai removed the continue feature. The most obvious difference between the Japanese release and the North American version was the removal of every cutscene except a slightly modified introduction sequence and several redrawn in-game graphic elements. Also, no official English names were given to the characters. The circled hexagram seen at the end of each stage in the Japanese version was removed, due to Nintendo of America's rules not allowing religious content in video games. Now, this is very much a Mega Man clone. Very, very much so. Was it intended to be? Probably not at the first, but is anything really ever intended to be a direct clone that becomes an officially licensed game? I'm hesitant to say yes. However, that being said, as a Mega Man clone, it does tend to fall short, but taken on its own as a simple platform game, it's not too bad. Kinda hard though.